Hello. Welcome to the Inner Throne podcast with Coach Kochi. Today we're going to be looking at leadership ownership, right? And our elders say that until the lion learns to write, every story will glorify the hunter. And in leadership, this means one thing, that if you don't define your leadership, if you don't tell the story of your leadership, others will tell it for you. Now, for executives, how does that work for us? Many leaders deliver results, yet they remain misunderstood. People don't really understand what the leader is about. They're undervalued. Most times they're easily replaced, not because they failed, not because they're not skillful, but because they never owned the story of their leadership. They never told the story. Your performance may speak, but it does not explain itself. Someone has to explain it, all right? And the Inner Throne Leadership Insight today is that the Inner Throne is the seat of your authority, is the seat of authority within each leader, within each of us. That's where clarity lives. That's where decisions are anchored. That's where your values are, and the things that are critical to you being who you are, that's where they are. That's where they're birthed. That's where they're nurtured. That's where they mature, right? So when you don't effectively occupy the seat of your inner throne as a leader, metrics replace whatever meaning that you have. And the perception of others replaces your intent, simply because you're not seated there. And sadly, that's not objectivity. That's a total loss of control. So let me reframe that. We're saying that leadership ownership means that, number one, you, the leader, must be the one to frame outcomes before they are judged by outsiders or by people who may be in your team or whoever they are, right? You must be the one to frame the outcomes. You must be the one to explain your strategy, not just the results. You must name the impact you are making before others label it for you, which means that you cannot afford to be silent and say, let my work speak for themselves. It means that you have to stop hiding behind templates, behind frameworks, because that framework is just supposed to support you as a leader. It should never define you. Now, if others end up interpreting your work for you, you've surrendered your influence. So what were we saying? That there's a cost to silence at leadership level. In global organizations, silence is always interpreted, but maybe in every organization, silence is interpreted. And usually the interpretation is not in your favor. It doesn't go in the favor of the silent leader. Excuse me. So leaders who don't intentionally articulate their impact, who don't project and voice their strategic value in organizations within an ecosystem, are oftentimes misread by decision makers. And if you're misread, then you're going to be boxed into an identity which is narrower, many times, oftentimes narrower than who you truly are. You could be looked at as operational support rather than leadership material. And this means that despite your performance, you will be ultimately passed up for promotions, for advancement, and every other thing. So silence is not humility. It's actually exposure to something that is toxic to you as a leader. So what questions should we ask ourselves as executives this week? What story follows me into rooms that I'm not in? I'm not in any room. What is the story that is being told about me? What are people saying about me? Who explains my leadership to the board if I'm not the one that is doing it? And then again, am I shaping perception or am I reacting to it? Because that's where you will be at if you don't articulate the perception that you want people to have of you. You end up reacting, trying to correct wrong views. And if you don't know the answer, if you cannot confidently answer these 3 or 4 questions, then we have a real problem on our hands. And that is a problem for you. So, what are we saying? Leadership is not only what you deliver. It is also how people understand your leadership, understand what you represent. So the question that I will ask today as I close, I round up. Who is defining your leadership story? Who is saying who you are, the value that you bring, and the impact that you have brought? It's time to occupy your inner throne. And the time to occupy it is right now. You must own your story. You must own your inner throne. Don't let the hunter be the one to tell the story about your life as a lion. Till we meet again, this is Coach Coaches that's saying to you, own, occupy your inner throne, and don't remain silent.